Welcome everyone to Marvel Hub. This is DK Dynamite, and apparently a dubbing actor for the Russo brothers, who will of course be working on Avengers Endgame, has leaked some new information in regards to the plot of the film. So Sergio Zurita, I believe that's his name, actually dubs the voice of Rocket Racoon, and in an interview for MVS, Zurita did talk about some emotional variants that the new film is going through, and in passing he said that an important superhero will lose his life. So his exact words are this: "I can tell you that the movie takes you from laughter to tears. A key character dies. I cannot say more. It's more. I do not know if I already said more." Now, obviously fan theories can point towards the death of Iron Man, Captain America, maybe even Thor, but he also says this: "The movie looks intense, good. Rocket is in another state of mind. Rocket is always angry and throwing a bullet, and now Rocket is brooding. Moreover, there is a time when Rocket is so sad that he does not care to be told in certain ways that it bothers him that they always tell him." Now, obviously this is translation from a different language, so kind of confusing to understand what he's saying here in this official statement, but he also says, "There are irreversible things. Very interesting what happens with Thor." So he then goes on to say, "There's a dialogue between Rocket and..." No, I think I cannot say that anymore. So maybe there's dialogue between Rocket and Thanos? Not sure who Rocket could be speaking to. That could be such a massive spoiler, since obviously he's with the Avengers now and can clearly be seen with them in all the trailers that we recently saw. But in terms of what this leak means, first off, let's dive into the idea that a key character will die. So we obviously know dubbing actors don't always have access to the entire script. Maybe he was only given access to part of the script, as this website suggests. I'll leave this link down below in the description, which means he could either have been given a fake script where he read certain lines and most of that will be translated into the film, but then another portion of the script he read is just there to avoid spoilers and avoid leaks. So maybe he doesn't really know the true story behind Avengers Endgame. But in terms of a key character dying, my best bet right now is gonna be Iron Man, because in terms of Captain America dying, there's more potential for him to go back to the past and live with Peggy and kind of close off that arc that he has with her that really hasn't been developed since, let's say, Captain America Winter Soldier, when he finally came face to face with her again as she's extremely old. So he did get to reunite with her in some way, but I think going back to the past would be a touching end to Captain America's arc versus killing him. Now, what's different about this is that since there will be time travel throughout Avengers Endgame, and since they will be revisiting the Battle of New York, that could be an opportunity when maybe Cap does wield Mjolnir, and we can see Cap finally hold Thor's hammer, which is something that we've obviously seen in the comics, something that's been rumored for a long time in the MCU, and then maybe Cap sacrifices himself in 2012, which obviously changes the events of the timeline that we all know. But since it's an alternate timeline or an alternate universe that won't necessarily stay canon later on in Phase 4, it's still worth seeing, maybe a touching moment, but it doesn't mean Cap is necessarily dead. He may just be dead in that alternate timeline, which to me is fine, but I would say in terms of the most iconic character passing away in Endgame, it's obviously Iron Man. He started it all. And if you guys did know, as of recently, there was a massive trailer that was supposed to release, I believe it was last Monday, for Spider-Man Far From Home, and all of a sudden, it's Monday, it's 12 p.m., we're all wondering where the trailer is, and all of a sudden there's new leaks that come out saying that apparently the trailer has spoilers for Avengers Endgame, so the trailer was pushed back until after the release of Avengers Endgame. And I'm kind of confused about that, because in terms of spoilers for Avengers Endgame, the first Far From Home trailer didn't really have any spoilers, if not any, but the only thing I could say is that there was a hint towards the beginning of the trailer where Peter does look at his classic Spidey suit that Tony of course made him and doesn't want to bring it with him on his trip. Now the theory obviously goes, well, maybe he's really upset that Tony passed away and he doesn't want to wear the suit anymore at the moment, or he doesn't want to be Spider-Man for the time being because he's still mourning the death of his mentor. And that's a really plausible theory, but there could be other reasons why he didn't want to bring the suit. But obviously that could be a spoiler for Avengers Endgame, but in all honesty, I don't know why they couldn't cut together a spoiler-free trailer for Spider-Man Spider-Man Far From Home. They did it already, but maybe they're only limited to 2 to 3 trailers, and they kind of want to give those spoilers away in the trailer to make it feel more connected with Avengers Endgame and not this standalone piece. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, in time will tell. Time will really tell what's going on with Spider-Man. But in terms of that key character dying, as I said, if it is Iron Man, that's going to be touching. That's going to be a huge moment for the MCU, because it's a big leap of faith for them to not only kill a key Avenger, but for them to kill the core Avenger, the essentially first Avenger MCU-wise, and then to kind of trust these new characters like Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Doctor Strange to kind of come to the forefront and lead the MCU going forward. So you guys let me know what you think of that down below in the comments section. But in terms of Rocket and his character development here in Avengers Endgame, I think it's perfectly reasonable for him to be acting the way that he will be in this film, according to this dubbing actor. You know, he's lost everything. The entire team of the Guardians is gone, besides Nebula, of course, but I would say the core team of the Guardians of the Galaxy are now gone. So he essentially has nothing except Thor and the Avengers. So luckily he befriended Thor in Avengers Infinity War, so he's not completely alone at the beginning of Avengers 4. So he has someone to rely on. He has a person to talk to. He has the Avengers team up with. So his behavior being necessarily angry or just upset and kind of ignorant is perfectly justified because of what he's already dealt with. And he of course lost Groot. That was a really touching moment at the end of Avengers Infinity War. But in terms of who he has a conversation with here in this movie, that's something that is really up to interpretation, because I want to say he'll finally encounter Thanos in this movie, since he obviously didn't within Avengers Infinity War. I'm assuming he took a look at him during the Battle of Wakanda at the very end of the film, but it was perfectly reasonable for him to kind of distance himself from that fight. And obviously the Guardians were going to nowhere to pick up the Reality Stone when Rocket was like, you know what, nope, I'm gonna go with Thor and distance myself from this, which is fine. He's small, he's delicate, he can't really go face to face with a Mad Titan using Infinity Stones. But I think now that all the Guardians are dead, this may have inspired him to now team up with the Avengers and still fight off with them against Thanos, no matter how strong he is. And obviously he's seen in the trailer sitting on top of War Machine. So I think a lot is going to happen in the film, but the Russo brothers obviously have said that there's a lot of fake footage in that trailer, and Chris Evans himself came out and said that it's hard to even cut together a trailer because every scene in that movie is a spoiler. So we can't really take anything from the trailer and say that, yep, that's definitely happening. We just don't know. And I'm going to say right now, based on the Lego set, based on the way the trailer was cut, this could easily be a way to throw us off, but it does seem like there will be a fight at Avengers HQ. Not too sure just yet, but if that's true, that's an easy opportunity for Rocket to finally come face to face with Thanos. But if not, then according to the other leak where we go to Titan 2 to face Thanos, that's when Rocket will finally come face to face with him. And it'll be interesting to see him have a conversation about Gamora, about other Guardians that he killed, asking him what his motivations are, and just having a heartfelt conversation, because I don't think Thanos will just automatically kill Rocket, because Thanos does have some type of humanity inside of him to speak to somebody, at least before he kills them. So he's not brutal to the point where he'll completely murder you just for no reason. He'll only murder you if you come in the way of his plan. And obviously Tony was doing that in Infinity War, which is why he stabbed him. But we'll have to see what happens within Avengers Endgame. But last but not least here on the list of leaks from this dub actor, talking about Thor and something that's irreversible. So I don't really think they're going to kill Thor in this film. Now, not only was Thor Ragnarok a huge success, but both Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi, I believe I said his name right, they both want to do another Thor movie. And that probably won't happen until Phase 5, to be quite honest with you, because it does seem like the Phase 4 lineup is kind of taken up by quite a few films right now. You know, we have Black Widow, we have Spider-Man Far From Home, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, then we have sequels to Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and finally Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is now being taken up by James Gunn once again, thanks to them rehiring him, thank fuck, to finally finish his trilogy, which he rightfully deserves to do. So I don't see where another Thor could fit in that phase, unless they do some changes like they did with Phase 2 and 3, where they kind of announce certain films films, then they kind of get shelved later on and get replaced by other films, because obviously Phase 3 wasn't originally going to have Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't believe Inhumans was even in the works anymore after a certain point in time, so they can easily make adjustments to the schedule we currently have. They could push Shang-Chi to Phase 5 or whatever they want to do, so there's easily room for a Thor sequel in there somewhere. But I do think with how Valkyrie's appearing in Avengers Endgame, with how New Asgard is going to be shown, there's a lot of character development for Thor that was introduced in Thor Ragnarok, which is kind of being closed off and completed within Avengers Endgame. So if they want to end his character arc off on a high note in Endgame, I'm perfectly fine with that. But if there's room for more storyline and some real depth with Thor's character after Avengers Endgame, then let's go right ahead and see that. But I don't think I'm ready to see Thor gone yet, because I think, especially Thor himself, with all the mythology and all the stories he has, there's still room for more, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know, there's room for more Iron Man, there's room for more Cap, but I do think with the contracts ending, with their ages, I think they do feel like it's time for them to, you know, kind of put it down. But with Thor, at least, I think there's still room for one more. But you guys let me know what you think of that down below in the comment section. But this has been DK Dynamite. Make sure to turn notifications on, stay up to date with the latest and greatest Marvel news and information. I cannot wait to do more trailer breakdowns, and I cannot wait to talk more about Avengers Endgame as we get closer to April 26th. Peace out, everyone.